Hold up. And we are live. Yay. So
Hello.
the beauty of our worlds, like we scheduled this for 20 minutes ago, and this is real estate. Nothing goes on schedule, right? So thank you for your
Absolutely.
patience. So everybody, I'm live, excited, and full of energy today, chatting with Christie Majors, the one and only. So welcome, Christie. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for calling me.
So you guys, Christie is the real deal. Like I met Christie, how many years ago? Like 4, would you say?
I think it's more like 5 actually in Phoenix.
Yeah.
I think it's 5.
So Christie is a spitfire, just so you guys know. So she, I met her at a mastermind, a metrics mastermind, like 4 or 5 years ago. And this woman is like a force to be reckoned with. And I was instantly attracted to her because she is like, she is fire. And she runs a hell of a business. And so we've been friends ever since. But the funny thing is, so we've been really close friends, like probably she just moved to Utah, which we'll get into the story here in a second. And so we've been spending more time. And girl, you're a dynamic. Like you've had a history. So I want to get into that a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a little up and downs, but you've been there watching the whole thing go down. So
yeah. It's been cool. So maybe, because I actually do know a little, but not a lot. So tell us your background a little bit, how long you've been in real estate, what you did before, your journey to get here. And then let's talk about your business, because I think what a lot of people are probably tuned in for is you're like, you crush it. You're 100+ producer per month, doing it at a very high level of you. And so I think we dive into how you're doing that as well. So tell us about how you got into real estate and your journey there.
Well, I was a commercial loan officer, and then I met the love of my life, Bobby Majors. And so he said, hey, why don't you do residential real estate? I'm like, no, thank you. I do commercial. And he promised a life of, going to my kids' soccer games and having all this free time. He painted this amazing picture about residential real estate. So I get my license, and very, very quickly find out that he was not telling me the truth at all, because either he did not know who I was, or he did not understand that 2008 and 2009 was the craziest REO world that we had seen. So I dropped in right at the kind of the middle of the REO world, and I worked for the top REO agent in Fresno as a buyer's agent. That's how I started.
Okay.
And all of a sudden I'm doing, 10, 15 deals a month off of REO world. And you couldn't stop it from happening, because it just kept coming and coming and coming. And you couldn't even stop. You couldn't even take a day off.
Yeah.
So that's how I started in it. And then fast forward a year or so, I go on my own, and I've been there now 12 years.
Wow, that's awesome. So I didn't realize you started as a buyer's agent for REO. I can't imagine you as a buyer's agent, because I know your personality. So props to you. So you go out on your own. So tell us what your business looks like right now, because this is something, you guys, I think I respect so much about Christie, is like she had a phenomenal business, does have a phenomenal business in California. And then you were like, hey, I'm not loving this. I need to move. So you literally, like, I don't say you left because you still have it, but you picked up and you're recreating and restarting your whole business in Utah. So maybe talk about what your business looks like, and then how you had the confidence to do that. Because I think that is like massive for a lot of people who would want to do that. So,
well, I've had team majors for now 7 years. And what happened is that, I have a buyer's agent, then I have a listing specialist, I have an assistant, and it's grown bigger and bigger. But what happened during COVID is that the showing assistant became in my world. So a lot of agents took other jobs to have, income coming in. And then, of course, buyers were sketchy because they didn't know if they could go into people's houses. So COVID kind of changed a lot of things for a lot of people. And so I started using a showing assistant. So I started capturing the leads, setting it all up, setting up a showing. A showing assistant would go open up the door, get paid $50 a door, sometimes, 7 and 8 doors in a day, but they were making close to $3,000 a month and they were getting their bills paid, but they didn't have to do anything but open a door. So I still had my back office working at home, doing, transaction coordination, signs up, lock boxes up, the whole 9 yards. So really what it did was it eliminated everyone doing a lot out of their house. Mm-hmm. So that's how we changed it during COVID. And then I just decided, well, hold on a second. I'm doing a lot of phone work and I'm not doing a lot of in-person work. I can Zoom anybody doing a listing. And so when the opportunity came that my husband and I came to Utah for the weekend just to get away from Fresno, gosh, well, I don't know. You look around. It's that's my backyard. Like this, I just fell in love the second I flew in here. I had never been here before. And so COVID to do it.
COVID was good for you then. So you're saying because of COVID, you transitioned your business to Zoom, phone calls, all of that. So it gave you the confidence. You're like, hey, I could do this from anywhere, right? And so you're like, if I'm going to do it, why not go to Utah? So you moved to Utah like 8 months ago? Or how long has it been?
Thanksgiving, 8 months ago.
Okay. So how is that looking now? Like you still have your team. I see it through my reel. You're still doing phenomenal in Fresno. So you still have your team majors in Fresno, and now you're transitioning into Utah. So what advice, because I think this is where a lot of people get stuck of like, I can't leave my business and start somewhere fresh, but you are. So what advice would you give an agent of starting fresh that they would need to do?
Well, I think that, one time I met Ben Kinney, and he said, it's not all about you. And it kind of struck a chord in me because I'm like, wait a minute, the buyers want to see me, the sellers want to see me. Well, no, what they really want is my procedures and my ops. Yes, it would be nice if they get to meet me, but it's not about me. And so when they meet a buyer's agent and they're still getting the same back end, successful closing without any hiccups, they still kind of think they're getting Christie Majors. So what it did, it's allowing me to just give it to other people and not have to be there in person.
Right. So you're saying it's a quality of your service and your excellence and your experience than it is that it has to necessarily be you. Right.
Correct. So when I get a call for a listing, I may jump on the plane and it's a $200 flight and go there at 8:00 in the morning, come back at 7 p.m. I may do that if I need to. But what this is doing, it's empowering them to go on with their day, go to their work, go do their family, and not have to have a meeting with me in person when we can do a 15-minute Zoom call. Or a 10-minute phone call. So it just evolved into that. And so when I'm giving leads to the agents and they're going and meeting people, they're asking, what's Majors Realty Group? Well, they get told there's a staff behind, there's a manager, there's a transaction coordinator, there's all of us. Anytime that you want to see a house, early morning, late night, we've got anybody and everybody to go show it. So the confidence in even the team members is that they've got a back office that they can lean on. So if you could build, for anyone listening, like if you're a single agent, of all that is that you can build a really strong foundation that you can take a week vacation and nothing gets disrupted. You can take a month vacation and nothing gets disrupted. That's the power in it.
Yeah. I think so. You and I didn't talk about what questions we were going to talk about.
No.
So if there's something that's off limits, like just be like, no, we're not talking about this.
Open book.
So one thing that I think is interesting, because I know you, and I feel like if there's any ladies listening to this, is like when I say Christie sells 100+ homes, Christie, not Christie's team, Christie sells 100+ homes. Like Christie's team does more than that, but Christie is like, I mean, you are like that phenomenal agent of like, you've got your vendor network, like you've got, I travel with you. She answers her phone mid-sentence. I can hear it buzzing right now. I'm surprised she's not answering it. Like she is that agent that is true and true. You want her as an agent. So 100+ homes a year, you decide to move to Utah. I feel like a little bit to try to get a little work-life balance. Yes.
That would be a big reason. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So what does that look like to you now? Like for these women or men too, but that it becomes like all, I mean, it's all encompassing because that has been you for a really long time. What would you say you've learned the last few months? Because I feel like you
Oh.
have such a different energy about you since you've made that transition of you relying upon your team a little bit more, right?
Well, I think that anybody in real estate pretty much is a control freak, right? You think you've got to do everything. So I think that while I was in Fresno, I didn't release a lot and I double checked a lot and I micromanaged a lot. And really the move to Utah, it just stopped. It wasn't even a transition. It literally stopped the day I got here. And I had to depend on my manager and I had to depend on my transaction coordinator because I had kids that had to go to school because Fresno was still shut down. All my kids went into school. Bobby was still living in Fresno for the next 6 months working at Fidelity. I had a lot of things going on that I just could not worry as much as I could. I couldn't control it.
Yeah.
So I think that was just a sharp right-hand turn and said, smack, knock it off. Yeah. It's not about you, and believe in your procedures and believe in your back office.
Yeah. So one question I want to ask you, and then let's dive into, and we're going to talk about your business and let's dive into real and your transition. But you are a bad A at internet leads, right? Like
that's fun.
She is the queen of Zillow. Of converting Zillow leads. So giving an agent advice, if you could give them one piece of advice of how to convert, because your conversion ratio is through the roof, like extremely high.
I'm at 84%.
84%, you guys, of her leads coming in, she's converting them. Like that is like unheard of, unprecedented. So walk us through what that looks like to you, like what that looks like.
Well, first of all, I answer every single phone call. Every single text message.
Trust me, she does. Sometimes I'm like, Christy, put down the damn phone. This is not appropriate. Yes, keep going.
I really can say that my entire business has been built on answering my phone because whether it's a referral, I'm usually about 60% referral, and now and I'm also now about 25% internet leads, and then the rest are just what comes in. Right. Yeah. Whether it's an asset manager, a lead I walked into, at Starbucks kind of thing. But I'm very purposeful because Zillow to a lot of people isn't a very good investment. But when my return of investment is sitting in the 40 to 50x range, you have to answer the phone or it goes to the other agent. Yeah. Right. I'm just the first phone call or second, but there's also 10 more phone calls after me if I don't answer. So the only piece I could sell you is if you're going to buy internet leads at all, anywhere, homes.com, realtor.com, Zillow, it doesn't matter where. If you're spending any money for a lead, you better answer your phone at all times or get a Google Voice number and forward it to somebody who will answer because you happen to be, let's say, at dinner with your family, because that's a very high priority. Then don't take your phone and forward it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't do that, but I take the phone call.
I think it's interesting you say this because that's common sense, right? Like you're going to spend money for leads, answer your dang phone. It's funny though, statistically, I think it's less than 30% of people follow up with the leads that they get. Less than 30 make one call. So I think that if you are an agent and you want to be excellent and you want to play that online lead game space, which we are huge into, it's about answering your phone, speed to lead, and follow up. Because not everybody converts on your first try or conversation. Of course they don't. So you have to continue to follow up with them to be able to have the relationship and the sell. What were we going to say? Sorry.
Well, when I capture someone, it's not about the house that they're going to go. I'm going to go set up a showing. I have a CRM. So I use Commissions Inc. And so the second, and I mean the second, I'm off that phone, or while I'm on the phone, I am building them in my CRM to get them off Zillow. Because I don't want them staying on Zillow. So there's a couple steps inside Zillow I've got to do to capture them for them seeing another agent. Then I put them in my CRM and I'm building up a search because the house they're about to go see in, let's say, an hour may not be available and they may not get it. So I've already got them saying, hey, you're going to get an email that says, welcome to Majors Realty Group. And I'm going to send you the homes that are available right now around this house. That's the actual part that captures them, because then in my CRM, I'm dripping them homes every day. I'm dripping them happy 4th of July, Merry Christmas, and everything else. That's the capture. The phone call is one thing. It's the back office of it that keeps them knowing, because there's a Zillow call that came in today that has been in my Commissions Inc. since January, and she's ready now with the pre-approval.
Yeah.
How would she know to even call me if I had it since January been dripping her?
Yeah, exactly. Right? No, I agree with you.
You can't do that on your own.
You can't do that on your own. You have to have the technology. It's a tech empowered agent, right? So I always say, like, most of us don't know enough people to create the income levels we want to create. So you're going to have to do some marketing. And so the marketing that you're doing, you then have to be able to follow up, because people don't buy a house just off the initial phone call. Very, very few. So you have to build that relationship. Leslie's asking which CRM do you use. So she uses Commissions Inc. It's Sync, C-I-N-C. There's a ton of them out there. There's Chime, there's Commissions Inc., Boomtown. All of them are great. So, okay, so let's talk about Real. Because, girl, we're on this journey together.
I know. I love it.
It's kind of interesting, this serendipity, how it all worked out and whatnot. But so Christie was at EXP. She was at KW for a long time. Went to EXP a couple of years ago, right?
Yep.
Loved it. Like, I don't think I've ever heard you say anything negative.
It still won't. It's a great company.
Yeah. And just so you guys know, I think so too. Like, it's the real deal. So there's nothing wrong or right about any of them. It's where the right fit is for you. But you left EXP to join Real. So why? Like, what's the reason?
Well, I knew about EXP before it hit Fresno, and I went to a couple guys in town and said, let's go to EXP. And every single one of them said, no. EXP's online. Nothing's going to happen. Just stay at KW. You're fine. And I'm like, until I'm not, because I'm telling you, EXP is like where we should do. Nope. So it died. And that was now 7 years ago. So fast forward, a couple agents in Fresno went to EXP, and then finally 2.5 years ago, I was done. I had a great time at KW, but it was time for me to kind of grow up and move out. And I went with EXP and I loved it. But what happened was it was so saturated that all of a sudden everybody started coming to EXP, and it was all a game of, well, who signed you up? It was probably the only thing negative I could say about EXP was it was a recruiting, in your face recruiting. And I couldn't stop it from happening. I couldn't tell people that, I was different. It wasn't about recruiting. It was bringing our metrics training to my downline. I mean, it just was kind of a mess. It was loud. Is that like what we like to say? That was just a very loud transition to EXP. And so fast forward, I moved to Utah. We find out about Real, and Spring, you're like, well, why should I go to EXP if we can go with the ground floor at Real? Basically where you were 7 years ago, Christie. Why don't you bring it and let's build this thing the right way? And I don't know, did it take me 3 seconds or 4 seconds to go, I'm in? I mean, that's how fast it was, because number one, I'm missing a ton of shares that I didn't get vested at EXP. So I leave all that, and within a month, I got it all back. And now I get to help a company like Real grow in Utah and Arizona and Nevada and California. And quite frankly, across the United States, because now it's 31 states. But now I can have a say in what we give to our downline, right? It's the wealth building and all that stuff. We get to design it. And that was what was fun for me.
Yeah. So I think the thing that I want to hit on this is it's not about either one. It was just that we were like, hey, let's go ground floor. Let's go build something fun and let's have a blast doing it. So what have you've been doing so awesome of your business. And it's been interesting to see how many people are just reaching out to you that are like, hey, and I think you're being proactive about reaching out to your friends too, but are like, what are you doing? This looks cool. What is it? So, are you having fun? Are you loving it? Like, what do you tell somebody? Like, what do you tell somebody? Because I'm getting calls all the time. I'm like, it's just fun, you know? And the cool thing, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this. The cool thing is corporate actually has a ton of training that's super fun. But the networking with all of us together is so fun because we're like, hey, what are you doing here? Or, hey, can you help me with this? And it's like, yeah, because it's built that if you grow, I grow, vice versa. And so everybody's just having fun building together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, I'm having so much fun because I'm playing with my friends, right? I'm playing with you. I'm playing with Darren Zuber and Darren and Cam Wade at the Strive team in Fresno. Like, I'm with some really great people that are giving the right definition of this company. This company is not about money. It's about doing just do your work, do what you do best. But what comes as the side hustle is something that can change your life. And I think that's where any kind of brokerage starts to talk about money. This is more, can I just support you doing better for you personally? Your wealth, your investments, your real estate, your family, you know, don't leave anyone behind and bring us all to the next level of making our money that we're all getting paid very good money to make it work for us.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do?
I love that because it really is like their core values align with mine, you know, work hard, be kind, no agent left behind. And I feel like that's really what this is built off of that we're just connecting and helping each other grow. And by doing that, our businesses are growing, which that's the number one. People have asked me, I'm like, dude, my business is I sell houses and we sell a lot of them. But if you want to come along on this journey and let's do some fun stuff at Real, cool, you know? And so it's been super fun. Christie, I won't take too much more of your time, but tell me this, like, what does the rest of the year bring you? Like, if you could see, like, you're in Utah, like, what's next? What's next for you, girl?
Well, I think that, you know, what I'm embarking on is a nice little wholesale and subject to investment world that we're going to build.
We're building. Yeah.
We're building it. And I think that's going to be, you know, a good focus. But I really believe in my team in Fresno. And I never want that to go away. And I think that because we keep adding more agents and more agents, what it's doing is giving me the confidence and the stability here that I can do anything I really want to do. Meaning, if I want to go on a trip, I can. If I want to come see you, I can. If I want to go back to Fresno, I can. And really, I've been working so hard for 12 years. I'm not retiring. I'm not going anywhere. But now I can just do it easier, more efficient. And that's the exciting part. So dialing into those kind of things where you don't stress, you know, I'm off my blood pressure medication now. So I'm like, you know, I'm the happiest I've been in extremely long. I don't even tell you how long it's been since I've been this happy. But I just think spending more time doing that work-life balance is a main focus because everything's now in an efficiency state that, you know, I can go play golf with the boys. I can go swimming with the boys on a Tuesday at 3:00, which I never could do in Fresno.
Yeah. I think that you learned to leverage and probably this transition has made you slow down. COVID made you slow down, which props to you. And it sounds like, I don't know, it doesn't sound like, I know you're having a blast with it. So I'm ridiculously grateful for you, grateful to have you in my life. Like, this has been super fun and it's just getting started. So I love your journey. And I just wanted everybody to hear the few nuggets. If you take anything away from this, it's like, you can have it all. Have the leverage component, like the consumer wants your quality of service and your level of expertise, but it's okay to have leverage so you can go play soccer or golf or swim, right? And you can have businesses in multiple states, like the top agents do. The top agents have businesses all across the US because it's the same systems and processes. And then last but not least, join a company that you're having fun and you're making some money and you're in alignment with cool people. And that's my takeaway. Anything else?
No, you just said all three of the things I would have said. You're
Yes.
so awesome, Spring. Thank you so much. I mean, it is about understanding, where the money's coming from, what it's going to do for you, how it's going to change your life, and not just stay in a, rat race and stay on the hamster wheel and go round and round and round and just sling real estate. There's got to be more that you can do, that you are dying to try or just imagining to try. Well, anybody that's around us, all they got to do is pick up the phone or email and call us and say, hey, I was thinking about buying an Airbnb. Where should I buy it? Okay, well, guess where I think you should be doing it? I think you should be doing it in Arizona. So I picked up 2 in Arizona because I can't pick them up in Utah because it's too high of a price point. But it's things like, just ask the questions, because I feel like people just try to figure it out on their own. And we've been through so much metrics training and so much coaching. Like, I would love to help somebody go build their wealth and then look back and watch them be able to do what they want to do. Now, that's a win. I mean, really.
It is a win. It's fun. So that's our next journey. If any of you guys want more information on anything we're doing, team, Christie's doing cool stuff. If you're growing your team in Fresno, if you guys want info on Real, find either of us. We're happy to have a conversation with you. And thanks for joining us. Thank you, Christie.
See ya.
Bye.